What is up again, YouTube? It is me, Jalarin, here again with another video, and this is probably going to be the setup for all of my at least manga-related videos for a while. Who knows, because I've changed it up like twice now already, but this is a pretty good setup, because you get to look at me shamble around in my closet for like 15 minutes at a time, so yeah. Pretty fucking great, right? Anyway, so today we finally have the first part of my November manga haul. And before we start, there are two items of note that are not in this haul that I did buy, but got delayed and therefore are not here with me today. And one of them is Girls Last Tour Volume 3. And the other is a manga called Tenken, which I bought after watching Lythus's video of 5 manga you probably haven't heard of. I'll link to that video in the description below, because he lists off some pretty interesting manga that you probably, like the title suggests, haven't heard of. And I ordered that and one other thing. But before we get to the manga, some anime. And that would be the Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans limited edition box. It's pretty neat. It doesn't have like a whole lot of shit in it, but what it does provide you with is, you know, pretty substantial for a box. It has the first whole season of the anime, and in a box that has enough space for like the second part when that comes out. It came with an art book, but the art book is like kind of floppy. It's just kind of a pamphlet more than a book, but it's got some really neat pictures in there, you know, stuff you can appreciate. I like the Atra Kudelia picture in there. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, boy. And they also have, I think it's actually still in here. Yeah, there was a... It feels like it was also put in there to take up space, but this is a backdrop that you can use for this, which is a high-grade version of Barbatos with the smoothbore gun. It's not in color. It's not a pretty box, but yeah. It's a Gundam. It's Gunpla. If you haven't noticed, the Gunpla box is behind me. We are a Gunpla household, if you will. So yeah, there's that. And now we get on to the manga, and I pick up where I left off, because I was talking about Lythus's 5 manga you haven't heard of video, and how I bought 2, and one of them didn't show up. That was Tenken. I'll maybe show it off in another haul, because it looks pretty cool. But the second one that I got was Icy in a Sunflower. Now, I don't normally pick up manga that's a series of short stories, because this is what it is. It's not like a series or one cohesive story. It feels like it takes place in like the same universe, which is kind of like a near future sort of scenario. But they're all their own stories, and they're all really good, honestly. Like, maybe I should start looking into all these, because Tokyo Pop published a lot of manga that was just, here's a series of short stories by this one author, and they had a lot of those, but I never really gave them the time of day. I think I bought one, but I sold it a really long time ago, and I forget what it was even called, but yeah, this is pretty neat, and I'd like to thank Lythus for including this in his video, because this is definitely something that if I saw it in like a bookstore, I'd be all like, nah, because I'm one of those fuckers who judges shit by the cover, and it's not my favorite kind of art style, but these are really good stories, and even though it's a Tokyo Pop release, as you can see, it's actually not very expensive. You could probably buy it from like a secondhand seller on Amazon for pretty freaking cheap, because it's not very rare. So yeah, if you are interested in a series of short stories or works of this author, then I would sincerely suggest looking into it, because it is a pretty good book. Alright, next up we have Sandome, Volume 2, which is the final volume that I needed to complete the series, which means I finally have Sandome completed, and now I can read it, and yeah, gaze upon those weirdly shaped boobies that are in here. The cats are fighting. Why do you all gotta do this when I'm filming? Yeah, Sandome, Volume 2, completing my collection of Sandome. Next up, we have Scum's Wish, Volume 5. I haven't gotten into this one. I got a pretty considerable sized backlog, but this was one of the ones that was supposed to come out last month, but that got delayed. There's been a series of stuff that's been getting delayed. Like, a lot of stuff this month actually got pushed back to next month. I say a lot of stuff, but I mean like 2 things. But yeah, this was supposed to come out last month, but it's out this month. Drama going on. People crying. Having sex. I don't know. Yeah, Scum's Wish, Volume 5. Next up, we have Murcielago, Volume 4. Probably the most Yuri this series is ever gonna get, I feel, because you all know how I feel about Murcielago. It's a pretty good series if you can stand some nice blood and gore, and maybe a little titty here and there. But just because the main character is a lesbian doesn't make it a Yuri. But this is probably the most Yuri this series is ever going to get. If you've looked into it, you probably already know like heavy Yuri themes in Murcielago Volume 4. Next up, we have some Puella Magi stuff. We have Puella Magi Oriko Magica, Volume 3, and the final volume of Puella Magi Tart Magica, Legend of Jeanne d'Arc. And can't say much about this one. This one, I feel like it would be an acquired taste because, I mean, the artist does really nice illustrations. They seem really clean and really nice, and that's actually kind of deceptive because Oriko Magica, the artist for Oriko Magica, it feels like they don't got like a whole grasp on the whole anatomy and perspective thing. Like sometimes in like action scenes, things just get really like confusing and you can't quite tell what's going on because everybody's bodies are so elongated and weird looking. I wish I could find I guess there's not a lot of action in this one, but trust me, it's definitely an art style that is an acquired taste. So if I'd look into it just in case, because it's a pretty good story on its own, but the art style might drive people away. And then we got the final volume of Tart Magica, and this has been a very long time coming. I was expecting to wait a little bit longer considering the space that was between Volume 3 and Volume 4, but this one came out pretty freaking fast. And I'm pretty satisfied with the ending. It's obviously, spoilers, Jeanne dies. I mean, you gotta have expected that to happen, but just the manner that it happens, it's pretty freaking sad. Not how I expected it to be. Sorry about that. Got called away. But, yeah. Tart Magica is a pretty good series if you are interested in, like, the Puella Magi franchise at all. And I would definitely look into it if you haven't already. It's 5 volumes. It's on the long side of things when it comes to Puella Magi series. But in terms of, like, overall manga, it's pretty short. So, yeah. Give it a read if you are interested in magical girl stuff. Not sponsored. Alright, and next we have The Record of Lodaswar the Grey Witch Volume 1, which was supposed to be just in time for the novel that was supposed to come out this month. But like many a thing, that has gotten pushed back and now it's coming out in December. So now I got some time to, I don't know, read this. Like I haven't already. Yeah, this one is a little interesting. Like, it's by the same publisher, but like, I guess in between volumes 1 and 2, things changed. Like, the volume number isn't anywhere on the spine, and there isn't a synopsis on the back like the other two. But yeah, gotta get some sweet, sweet Deedlit goodness. Yeah. I think these 3 volumes are the whole complete series. It feels like it is. But I'm also, like, dumb as rocks, so I wouldn't really know. I think volumes 1 through 3 of The Grey Witch is the full, complete Grey Witch series. So, yeah. I'm thinking of getting the other series, but they're not a big priority. Because Deedlit isn't in them a lot. Priorities. Next, we have this, well first, this is something I didn't buy recently, but it's something that I forgot to show you that I'd hauled, and that is Maria Holic Volume 11, and the only reason I'm bothering to show you this now is because I also got Maria Holic Volume 12, and I do believe Volume 14 is the last one, and that one's coming out, like, next year, kind of in the spring, I do believe. But yeah. This series continues to be, like, kind of comedy, but also part cringe. Because, like, in the very beginning, I felt kind of sorry for the main character, but then as the story went on, she became, like, a more deplorable person. But yeah. Maria Holic. And then next up, we have volumes 5 and volume 7 of MPD Psycho, which completes my collection of MPD Psycho. At this point, I've pretty much just given up on Dark Horse ever finishing this series at all. So I'm just gonna take what they have given me, and I'm gonna appreciate it, but it kind of fucking sucks that Dark Horse it's a pretty good freaking series, and Dark Horse was all like, hey guys, let's just stop publishing this. Okay. Yeah, fucking Dark Horse. But yeah, volumes 7 and 5, which complete my collection of MPD Psycho, which also completes my completion challenge for the year. I fucking did it! Oh, I'm the fucking greatest. Ah. Fuck yeah. Next up, we got that sweet, sweet JoJo's content. We got Volume 5 of Stardust Crusaders with Kakyoin on the front and Hierophant Green on the back. They finally get to Egypt in this one, I do believe. Yep, they finally get to fucking Egypt, y'all. I don't know how long this is gonna go for. I've actually haven't done my research at all to see how long Stardust Crusaders is gonna go for, but this whole every 3 months nonsense is really wearing thin on me. Kind of sucks. Like, why can't we get this faster? I don't really understand. Next, we have something that's a little out of character for me to have bought, but it's something that, like, a couple of people I've seen have hauled it, and Amazon won't stop fucking bugging me about buying it, so I picked up Jackass, which is a yaoi, something that is very, very unpresent in my collection if you don't count, I Hear a Sunspot, is it called? Yeah, I Hear the Sunspot. But this is definitely no I Hear the Sunspot. This is straight up dicks everywhere. Like, I have no Fujo friends. Like, absolutely no Fujo friends. So I'm not exposed to a lot of yaoi on a regular basis. So when I picked this up and I bought it and I flipped through it, I'm like, oh, that is a penis. Oh no. Like, I wasn't expecting there to be penises. But, like, the best part of this whole thing is actually the back cover. You got this dude. Shirt says, I have a big dick. Like, ain't that, like, the best fucking shirt ever? But yeah. If you like yourself some yaoi dick, this is Jackass. 1 volume. Next, we have Imperfect Girl, Volume 1. This was written by Nishiyori Scene, so I felt very obligated to pick it up. It's really funny because I'm probably not the first person to have said this, but this isn't what I thought it was going to be like, because at least half of this manga takes place with the main character being locked inside of a closet. Like, no context given as to why he's in that closet, but most of this manga involves the main character being held hostage in a closet, which is pretty interesting. It's got all that, like, good old, like, classic Nishiyori Scene inner monologuing. But yeah, kind of interested to see where this series is gonna go. It's a 3-volume series, I believe, so it's not very long, which is why I felt confident in picking it up. And also Nishiyori Scene. I'm a shameless Nishiyori Scene fangirl. Don't you judge me. Next, we have something else that's kind of out of character for me to buy, because I don't normally buy a series a second time, unless it's for, like, something very, very important, like the Death Note all-in-one edition. I don't normally pick up, like, multiple editions of the same series. But I found these at Second & Charles, and for what, like, they are pretty fucking cool. Like, they're not very rare, but they're pretty fucking cool. And I wouldn't have gone out of my way to buy them if I hadn't found them. And those would be Clover, Volumes 1 and Volume 2. These are the original Tokyo Pop releases, and they are tragically flipped. But I just really love, they have these, like, paper-thin dust covers, and they're a little damaged, as you can see. They've been had for a while, but I don't know if I can properly show you this, but there is, like, a paper-thin, like, dust jacket, and it has, like, this silver, like, design work on top. And so when you put it over the cover, it's got this really cool, like, shimmery effect. I don't know if I can properly show you this to you on camera, but these are just really fucking cool. And, I mean, the Dark Horse edition is really nice. I mean, it collects all of them into 1 volume, and it's got, like, high-quality color pages of, like, art that wasn't originally published in these. But these got the cool fucking like translucent dust jackets. Like that's some cool shit. That is some cool shit. And so I'm probably not gonna, like, actively pursue Volumes 3 and Volume 4, despite the fact that they're not that expensive, because I can't really guarantee that they're gonna have the dust jackets on them, because I'm probably going to have to get them used if I got them at all. If I ever come across them, like, physically, maybe I'll pick them up. But until then, I'm just going to have Volumes 1 and 2, which is, you know, it's alright. I just got them because they looked cool, so. Next up, we have Hatsune Miku Future Delivery, yet another Hatsune Miku themed manga from Dark Horse. This is why I got this, like, crazy love-hate relationship with Dark Horse, because, one, I just fucking hate Dark Horse for the very core of my being. But then they're all like, hey, here's a bunch of Hatsune Miku content, and I'm like, you sick fucks. But yeah, Hatsune Miku Future Delivery is about this girl. Well, it's more about this robot. And this robot meets this girl, and this girl is trying to find Miku, who she remembers, like, from her memory at some point. And this robot, he's, like, an older model, and he's, like, going, like, you know, out of service or whatever eventually. And he's like, I'm gonna help you find this girl. And so they go from, like, planet to planet looking for Miku. And they find, like, a bunch of people who, like, look like Miku, but they're not really Miku or something. It's really interesting. I really like, this whole, like, planetary travel theme. I'm definitely a very big fan of that sci-fi shit. So yeah, this is really neat. Got some really nice color pages. Very cute. I like the artwork. It's very nice. Yeah. I'm interested to see where this is gonna go, because they've got some really interesting ideas for, like, planets and shit that they got in here. It's really nice. Next up, we have the second and final volume of Assassin's Creed Awakening, and this has, like, the, you know when a manga is, like, paced pretty well? I mean, it's going, you know, it's going, it's doing its paces pretty well. And then suddenly the ending has to happen, and then every single thing suddenly is like, we gotta get to the ending now, go, go! And, like, it just, like the pacing suddenly goes, like, in, like, another direction. This is kind of what it feels like to read this. I mean, it's a pretty good series. If you like Assassin's Creed, I definitely recommend it. But it definitely suffers from, like, the rushed ending. But, yeah. Like, especially if you liked Black Flag, I definitely recommend picking this up. It's kind of supplementary material, but not really. It's kind of the same thing with just a different dude. Yeah. Next, we have Generation Witch, Volume 2. It's very cute stuff in here. I don't think I went into a lot of detail about what Generation Witch was about the last time I hauled Generation Witch, and it's pretty much just about, like, you know, everyday, normal, like, life in Japan, but there are just witches, just, oh my fucking god, cat. She's jumping. Why are you jumping? Anyway, but, like, witches are just inexplicably a part of society, and you just get to, like, have these little, like, look-sees into different witches' lives, and there's, like, boy and girl witches, and, like, they all have, like, different, like specifications. Like, some of them are, like, nurses, and some of them, like, have little boutiques, and some of them, like, guard shrines. And sometimes you get, like, intimate little peeks in at their lives. And there's a couple of returning characters in here from the last volume. And it was, like, the weird, uncomfortable characters, because you're introduced to, like, this guy, and he's a hairdresser. And he has what appears to be, like, a daughter. And she's this itty-bitty little kid, like, itty-bitty tiny. And she's kind of cloistered away in their home. She doesn't go outside because she's, like, a witch, and she's got, like, crazy superpowers, and if she went outside, she'd probably, like, cause more harm than good. So she stays at home, and she makes, like, magical, like, good luck dolls and sells them online. And it's like, oh, this is really sweet. And then you find out that her powers actually kept her from aging a really long time ago, and she's actually his wife. It's a little awkward. Next up, we have Dreamin' Sun, Volume 4. I haven't gotten into this one yet. I barely got into Volume 3, too, so I gotta really catch up on this series before it gets too far ahead of me, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna collect it to collect it like I usually do. I'm kind of interested to see if it has the same, like, emotional depth that Orange did, or if it's just your regular garden variety shoujo by this author. I'm really hoping that she adds something to this that really, really hooks me. I've got some faith in this manga author. I really, really do. Next, we have Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Volume 5. And the deeper I get into the series, the less and less it resembles just the heartfelt, very sweet gentleness that was the anime. Because the anime, aside from like the whole like Lukua and like the 5-year-old kid thing, it was pretty nice. It was a nice, sweet little series, and the farther this drifts away from like the anime plot, the more it's all like, what in the fuck am I fucking reading? Like, as soon as like Elulu, what is her name? Elulu? The fucking little like titty dragon who looks like a 5-year-old, but she's got like tits the size of like a human person or something. Like, as soon as she is introduced into the series, it like goes off in this complete direction. It's like, you thought this was a sweet little heartfelt story about these dragons living with this like salary woman. No, fuck you. It's something completely different, and you're gonna feel like excessively uncomfortable the whole time you read it. So yeah, that's the Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid experience for y'all. Why do you still collect it, Alexis? Because I'm fucking trash, okay? I'm garbage. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Next, we have Delicious in Dungeon, Volume 3. I was very, very hyped for this volume. Very, very excited to get more Delicious in Dungeon content. I was especially excited because they get the frog outfits in this one. I was a naughty little girl, and I read scans, so I'm pretty much caught up with where it is. So now I'm just like way hyped to get these now. I'm one of those people who read spoilers and then I just get more hype. But yeah, we're getting to the point in the story where they start to kind of drift away from the whole cooking manga thing, because in the very beginning, every single chapter was like, here's a new recipe made from monsters, but at like around Volume 3 is when they kind of diverge from the recipe a chapter kind of method and start to just do more like plot related stuff, which is okay with me. It's a pretty good series regardless of whether or not they're cooking monsters or not, but yeah. Still a pretty good series, and I highly recommend it, especially if you are like me and just amass nothing but elf waifus. Next, we have Frau Faust, Volume 2. We get a little backstory into Faust, I think. I think. I'm a little confused about the timeline. But we get to meet creepy children in this one, because, you know, what would a fantasy story with demons be without some creepy children elements? Gotta love it. Next, we have the 4th and final omnibus of Cardcaptor Sakura, which would have put me on track to finally buy Clear Card, which was supposed to come out this week, but surprise, it got delayed and now is coming out in December. Which means I didn't have to, like, collect these as fast as I fucking could, since apparently I have a whole other month, which now I just got these, and now I just get to read them and wait for December, which is kind of fucking sucky because I was mad hyped for Clear Card, but now we gotta wait, because reasons. Alright. And speaking of really heavy Dark Horse omnibuses, we have Blade of the Immortal Omnibus Volume 4, which means we get to wait another eternity for Blade of the Immortal Omnibus Volume 5. So have fun waiting with me, children, because that is pretty much the Dark Horse life, is waiting for fucking ever for them to put out their shit, even though it is either complete in Japan or they've already published it already. They're just dragging their feet because Dark Horse doesn't know how to manga. And finally, we have today's Cerberus, Volume 6. I'm continuing to enjoy the fact that Rose and, is it Shirogane? The white one who's angry all the time, and Kuro have all, like, split apart into different people, because then I get more Rose. I just get more of my cute little pink doggy waifu. So I couldn't be more happy, and I really hope they don't go back into one being anytime soon. I fucking love Rose. She's my favorite. I'm fucking trash. I love my doggy women. I loved them so much. Yeah, that's today's Cerberus, Volume 6. The way things are going, it looks like the next volume's gonna have Rose on the cover, and I can't fucking wait, because I love fucking Rose. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the first part of my November haul. I hope to see you all in the next one, where we will probably do a lot more dumb shit. So, yeah, until then, goodbye.